Let's go back to just before 10 p.m. on November the 14th on Downtown Country.
That's it, Joe. Along the wall says that's all. It's time to go. Time for me to thank you for your texts, your emails, and your company all week. Enjoy your weekend, won't you? I'll be back here Sunday night at 7.
7 lonely days and a dozen times ago, I reached out one night and you were gone.
Night.
Don't know why you'd run, what you're running to or from. All I know is I want to bring you home.
Those were the last words spoken on air by Trevor Campbell, better known as Big T. 1 week later, on the 21st, he passed away in hospital after a short illness.
I've loved you much too long. My love's too...
In this special programme for the next hour, we're telling Trevor's story, reflecting his unique broadcasting style and achievements as the longest-serving presenter in Northern Ireland radio and in UK commercial radio, and hearing from music artists and listeners with their tributes. I'm John Rosborough, and I first met Trevor when we were both new starts with Downtown months before the station was due to launch. Trevor was born in Belfast in 1946 and lived at the top of the Craigie Road, attending Harding Memorial Primary School, then Belfast Inst. He took an early interest in music, no doubt helped along by the fact that his uncle owned a shop on Castlereagh Street selling wirelesses, radiograms and later televisions, but more importantly, gramophone records. This was the first one that young Trevor bought.
Well, bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, my hands are shaky and my knees are weak. I can't seem to stand on my own 2 feet. Who do you think of when you have such luck? I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah. Well, please don't ask me what's on my mind. I'm a little mixed up, but I feel fine when I'm near the girl that I love best. My heart beats so it scares me to death when she touches my hand. Oh, what a chill I got. Her lips are like a volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say that she's my buttercup. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah. My tongue gets tied when I try to speak. My inside is shaking like a leaf on a tree. There's only one cure for this body of mine. That's to have that girl and a love so fine. She touched my hand and what a chill I got. Her lips are like a volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say that she's my buttercup. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm all shook up.
By 1966, it was time for Trevor to get a job, and he joined the civil service. That was by day, but by night, from 1970, he loved to be involved with the newfangled concept known as the disco. From taking early steps at the Belfast Boat Club at Stranmillis to the King's Arms in Larne, Ballygally Castle Hotel, the Deer Park in Antrim and the Town and Country in Newtonards. Trevor had also developed a fascination for radio, doing pretend shows as a child for family members broadcast from one room to another, and later with a tape recorder practicing and creating demo tapes. His inspiration was Daffy Don Allen on Radio Caroline North, anchored off the Isle of Man in the mid-60s, and he got to know Don, who became something of a mentor. By the early 70s, Daffy Don had moved to a new high-power station broadcasting from the Dutch coast, Radio North Sea International, and he invited Trevor to join the DJs on board.
Radio North Sea International on 220 metres medium wave and 49 metres in the short wave. Now, to take you through until 7 this morning, Trevor Campbell. How do you feel, Trevor Campbell?
Very scared, sir, very scared.
You'll be all right. I know. You'll be all right. Don't forget to fasten your safety belt and everything will be quite okay.
If you're just tuning in for the first time and you want to know what station you're listening to, then I'll tell you by pressing this button. The one and only International. And the number one song, of course, from the one and only Mr. Gilbert O'Sullivan. A song called Get Down, and from now until 7 we're getting down, and with it.
Told you once before, and I won't tell you no more. Get down, get down, get down. You're a bad dog, baby, but I still want you around. You give me the creep when you jump on your feet, so get down, get down, get down. Keep your hands to yourself. I'm strictly out of bounds.
The Force 8s and Force 9 gales in the North Sea proved too much for Trevor, who returned to Belfast, and the Camera Waters of the Civil Service, determined to be ready for when independent local radio, given the green light in 1972, would reach his home city. By December 1975, Downtown Radio was on the way and recruiting its on-air team. And Don Anderson, who had returned to his native province after years as a news reporter worldwide for the BBC, was looking for the kind of broadcasters who would make the station distinctive and a success.
I didn't know the local scene, so I had to ask. And I got a list of people like Big T, Candy, Hendy, Jippo, as I knew him, John Paul, Brian McSherry. These were people whose names kept coming up again and again. And what I was looking for, you needed somebody who was actually more than simply a disc spinner. You needed somebody with enough character, enough background, enough showbiz sensibility to actually hold an audience, hold a conversation. They had to be interested in people, not just in the music, but in people. I invited Big T to come and meet me in the Strangford Arms bar. They used to have a lovely horseshoe bar there, which they ripped out, they shouldn't have. And I was waiting, and I was expecting somebody to come in casually dressed, because DJs and those kind of people are not noted for being in suits. Well, in came Big T, immaculately dressed, in a very finely cut pinstripe suit, groomed beautifully. He walked almost with a silken style up to the bar and said, Mr. Anderson, I presume. My jaw dropped. This was not what I was expecting. But he continued to provide what I didn't expect. His voice was superb. It was the first thing that I latched onto, that sort of gravelly bass voice. And I said to myself, oh yes, that is the voice. And then I began talking to him. And yes, Big T was a people person. He amused me, he had anecdotes, he talked about what he did, and frankly, I would say 2 minutes into the conversation, he had the job. He didn't know that, of course, so he kept talking. But he had the job. He was special. I was delighted to meet him, delighted to sign him on, and out I walked from that bar saying, yippee, I've done it.
So it was a big yes to Trevor from Downtown. And on March the 16th, 1976, the station went on air with John Paul on The Breakfast Show.
Big T's about to be a biggie.
Who's telling you?
Yes, indeed, that's Big T's bound to be a biggie this week on 293 The Drifters and Hello Happiness. And actually, Big T's in the studio. Say good morning to the world, Trevor.
Good morning, world.
And Big T will be with you between 12 and 2, isn't that right, Trevor?
That is absolutely correct.
And we also have another gentleman called Handy who is not around at the minute, but no doubt he'll drop in and say good morning to you.
It was to be a big news day too, as Trevor recalled, ahead of going on air with Dinner Spinner at midday.
We had our first news flash at 20 past 10 in the morning. I think it was around about 20 past 10 that Harold Wilson had resigned. And I got a telegram at midday from a chap called Don Allen, who had been on Radio Caroline, and then I had worked with him on Radio North Sea. And his telegram read, Harold Wilson always said, the day that Big T makes it into commercial radio, I'll resign. So I must admit that it really gave me a buzz, getting the telegram from Don and it being so very relevant and up to date.
Michael Henderson, better known as Hendy, was another member of the original on-air team.
I, of course, had known Trevor in the disco scene back in the mid-70s when we used to cross paths doing various clubs and things. So that's how I met him first. Then we got the word that there was a radio station going to open in Northern Ireland, and some of us did some research and found out a wee bit about it. And you called me to your office, Mr. Anderson, and the rest is history. But Trevor was always into his music, as you say. I obviously like music as well, but he knew a lot more about the countryside of things, which we thought was a wee bit just too, saying Ballymena, soft. It was a wee bit soft, the music. But, he decided to go for country, which was probably one of the best things he ever did, because people in Northern Ireland love the music, absolutely love it. We did these lovely things called drop-ins, and a few well-known Belfast phrases like, "What about ye?" and "Oh, here, that's sticking out." And there were a couple of others that we used. Lovler was Big T's favourite. But he was the master of the drop-in. He really was. And he was able to mix his jingles and the drop-ins absolutely brilliantly. We weren't just as proficient as he was at it.
Bill Ryan and Buckshot. I love that song. Midnight in the morning. We got to move out of here 20 seconds before Hendy comes your way to make you happy with his progression show. Especially if you're listening in stereo. Stay tuned? No, stay tuned.
Speak properly, boy.
Well, very many thanks indeed for listening this evening. Thank you for all your many, many cards and letters. Keep them coming in. They are all appreciated. Apologies for my voice this evening. It's just even worse than usual. I make no apology for what I say or when I say it. But I must thank everyone for all the nice things they've written into me. And to thank all the other people who wrote in too. All three of them. So, from me, Big T, good night, God bless. Thank you all very much indeed for listening. And let's see if we've got Hendy on the line here.
Yes, indeed, Trevor.
Hello, Hendy.
Are you taking a bit of stick, are you?
What? Oh, for dear sake, 3 letters. Oh,
whole 3 out of the 400 you've already reached.
You wouldn't believe it. Oh, dear.
Oh, well, sure.
Hendy,
yeah.
I'm going to stay here and get all my records. They're all lying all over the floor.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them all together, and I'm going to be tuning in to your progression program.
Yes, because we've got some lovely stuff tonight.
There's some fabulous stereo too. It's great.
Yeah.
I was listening to John Paul on last Thursday night,
yep.
and I really enjoyed it.
You do realise, of course, we're taking it week about. He'll be doing the Shindig programme this Saturday. Well, listen, we better press on with the music.
I thought you were doing it every other week. Bye-bye, Hendy.
Bye-bye.
The country show, Downtown Country, was to prove one of the immediate hits for the new station. Those were the days of letters and sealed down envelopes, and the huge piles of mail arriving every week for the Tuesday and Thursday shows told their own story. Who remembers the Country Cousins? We'll come back to Trevor's outstanding work in interviewing the giants of country music shortly, but he also displayed his talents every day with general popular music shows, first at lunchtime, then moving to breakfast in the autumn of '76. Golden Oldies shows were Trevor's happy place, and he presented many which highlighted his knowledge and love for the music. His trademark was a tight, bright style, laced with quips and many jingles. Let's enjoy a short segment from 1983, where the featured year was 1961. To put it in context, that's like an oldie show on air today, spotlighting 2002.
And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the Golden Oldies program, the Golden Greats, from now through until 9 o'clock on what's a rather weather-wise evening here in Newtonards. Thanks to Ronan for heading home, and he's just about to do that, actually. Nice to be heading home in the sun, and with the clock's move tomorrow, he'll be heading home in sunnier times next week. With a bit of luck from the weatherman. Okay, 26 minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock it is. A hit from 1961 from the Shadows that you're trying to put a name to, and yet I had my life if I had forgotten to tell you what the title was. I haven't told you yet, so don't cheer. That one was actually called Kon-Tiki. A lot of you got it, and a lot of you, like me, probably didn't remember it from Adam. I always find instrumentals hard to put a name to, especially the old Shadows ones. Anyway, that was from 1961. A lot of the music tonight is from 1961, as is this.
You saw me standing alone without a dream in my heart, without a love on my heart.
Way down low. How low can you go?
You got solid gold.
Yes, indeed. Solid Gold 61 sound it was. The Marcel's Blue Moon. This is Del Shannon to sing.
One will understand what I've got to do. I've got to find a place to hide with my baby by my side. She's been hurt so much. They treat her mean and cruel. They try to keep us far apart. There's only one thing that we can do. We gotta keep searching, searching, find a place to hide, searching, searching. She'll be by my side if we gotta keep on the run. Follow the sun, follow the sun, follow the sun, follow the sun.
Del Shannon. First but not the last time you'll hear him this evening on the program between now and 9. Keep searching, follow the sun. James Darren, he's not worried with that because he's gone away. And he's saying, because he's on to join the circus. It's 21 before 7. You do it, James.
Goodbye, cruel world. I'm off to join the circus.
What are you going to do, man?
Gonna be a broken-hearted clown. Paint my face with a good-for-nothing smile. Cause a mean, fickle woman turned my whole world upside down. Goodbye, cruel world. Goodbye, cruel world. Goodbye, cruel world.
James Darren in 1961. Goodbye, cruel world. He's off to join the circus. I'm off for 20 seconds, then I'll be back with the other Darren.
Get out of my way, up a lazy river with me.
I think my favourite Bobby Darin record was Things, but that one was a hit in 1961. Things wasn't until 1963. Bobby Darin there and the song called Up a Lazy River, 16 before 7.
Big T.
Yes.
He's full of fun.
Lovely. What about this one?
Every time my baby and I have a quarrel, I swear I won't give in.
Right on, man.
Then my baby starts to smile at me. And I know, I just can't win.
1962, big hit song at number 9 for Jimmy Justice.
When my little girl is smiling, there's nothing more I can say. I see those big bright eyes, and then I realize that girl is gonna get
this side of the Atlantic for Craig Douglas. That was the biggie from Jimmy Justice. When My Little Girl Is Smiling got to number 9 in 1961, and another song that was a hit in 1961, Up and Coming, from a gentleman who died in 1964, but today was his birthday boy, and he was number 3 in the chart in January 1961 with this one.
Come on like a dream, peaches and cream, lips like strawberry wine.
Johnny Burnett.
You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine. Well, you're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine.
Today would have been his birthday. Johnny Burnett, and in 1961 he got to number 3 with that one, which was later to be a hit for Ringo Starr. You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine.
You're listening to The Big T Show.
Goodbye, farewell, I'm not sure what to do. So long.
Big T from March 1983. Several months later, in May of that year, he married Linda Jane, who had joined Downtown in November 1978. The much-loved showbiz couple had an opportunity to present together in 1984 for the charity fundraiser Dial a Lion.
Now that entails several evenings being taught the basics, and that's been given to us by Carrickfergus Sub Aqua Club. So the second person to ring Newton Ards 817721 and to offer us £10 can have that diving instruction and a dive under supervision. Something I tried once. Hendy and Trevor and myself went off to a swimming pool in town and tried that, and poor Hendy nearly got drowned, so did Trevor, but it was good fun, wasn't it?
Yes. For you. If they hadn't tried to get me into the wetsuit of somebody who was size 36 and I'm 42 or 44.
It's when you started to go purple and white that I started to worry. I thought it was maybe going a wee bit far then.
Well, it was okay, just apart from the fact that I wasn't able to breathe. You know.
Yes, oh well, sure. It kept you quiet for a minute or two, didn't it?
It did, rather, yeah.
Right, well, don't forget, folks, 817721. It's an instant, it's gone. It's away. And we'll tell you a wee bit later on who got that. If I get the drift correctly, someone will pay £5 if I sing Jingle Bells. Who is it? That's what I like to know.
I'd pay 6 if you don't.
Okay, I'll take your bid there. £6 if I don't sing Jingle Bells, Trevor. Why not?
You maybe started something there. Like.
Yes. At least they'll not be wanting your tie or anything, will they? Because you haven't got one on today.
No, this is true.
Well, we'll see. I'll have a think about this.
I can think of one you would give them anyway.
Exactly. Any more dedications there?
Oh, loads of them.
Earlier, mention was made of the country artist interviewed by Big T. Here's a sample, guided by the man himself.
Tammy Wynette I got to know.
Stand by your man.
Charlie Pride I got to know.
Oh, the crystal chandeliers like Canadian Pacific.
George Hamilton IV is an angel, and I mean that in all Christian ways of it all. He is a true Christian man and a lovely, lovely man.
I rode your ocean liner to Newfoundland.
Farron Young, I loved being with Farron Young.
It's 4 in the morning, and once more the dawning just woke up the wanting in me.
Waylon Jennings, he was brilliant too. I met the 4 Highwaymen actually. Willie Nelson, very quiet, but Waylon was really, really nice. I mean, I was comparing the show in the ABC for Waylon, and I asked him afterwards, I said, any chance for a quick interview? And he said, yeah, go on up to room 1011 or whichever one it was, I used to remember, in the Europa. And I went up and tapped the door, and he opened the door, and he was on the phone, and he just pointed over to the drinks tray and told me to help myself, and he was on the phone with his wife, and he was really just an ordinary bloke, and so many of them are like that, you know. And what a lot of people don't really realise is that, you know, country music stars, by the time we get to hear them, they're extra super rich and all that. They really, you know, they're doing it. If they're coming as far as Northern Ireland, they're really doing it for the love of it.
One of the country's superstars that Trevor most enjoyed meeting was Dolly Parton. And listening to this, recorded in the music room of Dolly's house in Nashville, the feeling seems to have been mutual.
And shaking me up so that all I really know is here you come again. And here I go.
Hi, this is Dolly Parton, and you're listening
listening to Big T on Downtown Radio. He's right on the money, I tell you. And here I go. And here I go. Here you come again. And here
It really is a tremendous pleasure to welcome to the microphone of Downtown Radio. Well, she's a legend. She's a wonderful singer, songwriter, film star. You name it, she's done it, and she's done it better than anybody else, and maybe bigger than anybody else. Welcome to Dolly Parton.
Well, hello, and I guess I've done it longer than most people, too. You and I have been around for years. It's been like 30 years ago, I guess I did an interview with you, and it's good to get to do this again.
Yeah, well, 30 years ago, I remember being really nervous because you were about the third interview I ever did, and that was back at Wembley at the Country Music Festival then. And over that 30 years, well, you were a household name back then, and really I can only say now you're a worldwide music icon. You've been in films, you've kept on writing, your music is, there's country music and there's Dolly music, really, because you've branched out into so many various types of music, and it's all country because it's Dolly, but some of it wasn't really country, but you countrified it, I suppose, in your own way. But going right back to the songs like You Are, We Had It All, and right through even in those days you were recording songs like It's All I Can Do and Baby I'm Burning, the really upbeat ones as well as the soft, sentimental, heartbreaker type songs.
Well, I've enjoyed getting the opportunity to do all kinds of things, but you're right about the fact that I'm a country girl, and when I first started to make the changeover in country music, a lot of people thought I was making a mistake because they said, "Oh, she's leaving country." I said, "I will never leave country. I'm taking country with me wherever I go." But I have been lucky enough to be able to get to do a variety of things, from the movies to theme songs from the movies that I have had the good fortune to do. So I've been very blessed in my life that I've been around a long time, and I don't intend to be quitting anytime soon. So I may see you again for another interview in 30 years. We used to walk through fields of green. We used to sit by clear blue streams. We used to be so happy, me and you. We used to do such silly things. We used to make love in the rain. We used to, yes, we used to. Then you went away, leaving me with the memories we made.
How did the films come about? How did the first one come about?
Well, the first film I ever did was the movie 9 to 5, and Jane Fonda at that time was producing that. She had an idea to do a movie of women in the workplace, and so when she put it together, she was trying to find 3 very strong personalities, hers, and then 2 other women to work with her, and she chose Lily Tomlin, of course, from that world of comedy and that kind of...
Rowan and Martin's Laughing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so at that time, Lily was very popular, and I was just beginning to really be really hot in the music field, and she had seen me on TV and had heard some of my records and thought my personality would fit for the Southern, to get her the South, the Southern part of the world. And so she came to us and asked if I would be interested in doing it. And I had been offered movies before, and I had refused them because I hadn't seen anything I thought I could do. And so it just seemed natural, and I was glad I took it because it was just an instant hit right out of the box. And now, after all these years, 25, 26 years ago, and now they're doing a Broadway musical of 9 to 5, and I have written all the music for it. So that's going to open on Broadway in a year, and I will have the good fortune of getting to still be in 9 to 5. Just
And
not
Dolly,
in it,
the
but
song
writing.
itself is still so popular with the young people of today, as well as the people who were buying your music and listening to it when it was around the first time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that says something about your iconic staying power and the fact that the music that you have written, adapted, and are still singing today is still living along, not only in the country field of music. That's the magic of Dolly Parton.
Well, I've been very blessed. I guess I have just kind of a big old personality and a big old heart, and I just love people, and I love getting out there, and I think people tend to think that I enjoy it a lot, and they seem to want to help me out, and I appreciate them for that. I'm just glad I've got to do that. I have been blessed because it's not everybody that gets to do so many things. I'm very glad that I've had the chance.
Some of your songs, Dolly, they last, and they still mean as much today as they did, I'm sure, the day that you wrote them. Famously, of course, I Will Always Love You, which you sold to Whitney Houston, and it became a hit all over again. But yet, it's to so many of us, it's still a Dolly Parton song. It's still that really... Oh, it's a tearjerker, isn't it?
Well, mine was very sad, and the way when I first wrote it, it came from a very sincere place in my heart, a thing that I was going through in my life at that time. So mine is more of that real country, really sad. But when Whitney asked if she could, use the song for The Bodyguard, the movie that she did, I was just shocked at how great she did that. I didn't even realize that my little sad country song could be done so big. But that goes to show you if a song is good, and if it's simple and pure in its feeling and its melody, because it was very simple melody that you can take it and arrange it. And David Foster.
To you, it's great,
you.
And long and continued success, and we really are looking forward to you coming over to, well, it's Belfast on March the 20th, I believe, and you're also appearing in Dublin and Cork.
Yes, and I can't wait. I love your home area. It's my home too. I have a lot.
Country music is so big in Ireland, and the audiences, I know Don Williams and Charlie Pride were the ones that were responsible for making other artists or recommending other artists to come back during our troubled times, to come over to Ireland, because the audiences were so warm. And thanks indeed to Jim Aiken, who persevered with coaxing the artists to come over, and I'm glad he's bringing you back over.
Well, I'm glad I'm going to get to come. I can't wait to be with you, and thank you again for stopping by to let us tell the folks about it. Thank you. Here you come again, just when I've begun to get myself together, you waltz right in the door, just like you've done before, and wrap my heart.
And there she was, Dolly Parton, larger or maybe smaller than life. But she is so bubbly that great person to be with, so full of fun, that she just switches on as soon as she walks in the door, and she was so easy to get along with. She just said, you want to take photographs? Where do you want me to sit? What do you want to do? No big deal made about the whole thing. So it really was an enjoyable time Saturday, a week ago, in Nashville, Tennessee, and it is indeed, I think, the 30th of March in Belfast. It matters little, because the tickets all sold out in what?
Among his many awards over the years, Trevor was delighted to receive the International Broadcaster of the Year award from the Country Music Association in Nashville in 2004. and to be inducted into the Irish Radio Hall of Fame in 2016. He also made it a priority to support, encourage and reflect the Irish country music scene and interviewed very many artists over the years. He had a regular chat with Daniel O'Donnell, most recently over a video link.
Head over heels in love with a pretty little girl from Oma in the county.
Far from now, haven't we come on? Haven't we fairly come on from just talking down the phone?
I'll tell you. You have a light above your head. Oh no, is that the mic that's up there?
The mic. Do you want it out of the way?
No, it's fine. Oh no, I wouldn't see you.
It's not blocking your view of me or anything.
No, not at all. I wouldn't want anything to take your face away from me now that I have you.
Well, Daniel, here we are again. A little bit earlier in the year this time, but it's a kind of an annual thing we do. And I'll let you tell us what it is that you brought out just last week.
Well, we have an album out now that it's 40 years now since I did the first album. And the record company here, Demon Records, decided we should take a look back. You have like all different types of songs. There's some from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and there's country songs and there's Irish songs. And yet they all sit together somehow, you know, which is great, really, that you have that in a record, you know.
Is this the actual fact? You'll find this may be hard to answer, but is this that the artist has put his own stamp, his own take on them, to use the phrase, when he takes a song, he makes it his own? And those songs, even though it's Wake Up Little Susie, it's Daniel that's gently waking her up, you know, it's not the alarm clock.
Well, I suppose, yes, and the thing about it is, I always think that, you know, even though you're doing your own take on it, we always didn't stray far from the original, you know, because that was the best way it could have been done, you know. But at the same time, I when I am listening to a song that's, even if it's a writer that sends it to me, I try not to listen too long in case I would take any part of them. Do you know? Even though I can't really sing like anybody else, I can only just sing like myself. But I'm always very aware that, you know, you should sing in your own voice, whatever that is. And that's what I say to younger people, Trevor. Sometimes they say, have you any advice? I'll say, all I can tell you is that there's so much room for you, but there's no room for another me.
That's right, yeah.
Do you know? And no matter how much you admire somebody as a singer, you might just love Elvis, and you may be able to sing as good, if maybe better than Elvis, if that's possible.
We've got one.
But you have one, and, you know, even if you're better than the person you're trying to imitate, you're never going to be as good as them.
And you're never going to,
you know, but you're always going to, there's always room for yourself.
I remember, and I don't want to offend you in this way, Mick Clarkin took me to see you in the Chimney Corner. It was the first time I'd seen you.
That's right.
And he said to me afterwards, he said, well, what do you think? I said, you've got yourself a good one. And I remember saying, whether it made sense or not, I said, the grannies will all love him, and they'll all want their granddaughters to marry him. So you've got yourself another Pat Boone, which was my take on having seen you once. And then, as you know, I compared so many shows.
Absolutely.
Daniel, there are so many stories.
You know, the live show, even though, you know, I do the albums and everything, the live concert is still what I enjoy most. Above all the other things, television and everything that I've got to do, there's nothing like going out live and singing in front of an audience. It's just
Daniel,
even though I do be wild nervous, you know. I don't know, as I'm getting older, I'm getting worse, but I was always nervous.
You always get nervous. In the office there about a quarter of an hour ago. I said, I'm a bit nervous. And they said, what are you nervous about? I said, I'm interviewing Daniel. And they laughed. And one of the guys knows we do it every year. He said, I think
it's because we respect what we're doing. Do you know that you want
Yeah.
it to be the best?
You want it to be
You
right.
want it to be as good as it can be. And that must be what makes you nervous, because you don't want to fall short.
It's terrific that 40 years later you're catching up with me now. I'm in
I
my
know.
40, I'm my 49th year.
My God, Trevor, who would have thought it?
Yeah.
God, when I think going back, you know, to yourself and Linda Jane, and, you know, when we were all sort of, well, I was starting, and, you know, all of the things that we got to enjoy those days, and that we're still able to have the friendship and the connections. Great.
The blessing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Daniel, it's terrific that you're keeping at it. And,
That's it.
people say to me, what are you still? What else would I be doing? Daniel, all the very best. And,
Thanks, Trevor.
But
Please
isn't it
God.
amazing, you and I sitting talking on the television and both seeing each other?
I know, it's matey. Who would have thought it?
Sure, the young people think it's normal now.
No. Take care, Trevor.
Thanks, Daniel.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Such was the impact of the decades of bringing the best of the American and Irish country music to large audiences here that in 2015 Downtown decided to launch a digital station which took its name and inspiration from Downtown Country.
It gives me great pleasure to announce a legend to officially open Downtown Country. He's been here at Downtown Radio from day one, way back in 1976, and his market-leading evening programme has actually been the inspiration for our new radio station. It is fitting that he is the man to officially launch Downtown Country. He is, of course, Big T.
All right, you ready? Coming out the speakers, getting loud. We're gonna do this thing. Sounds best when turned up loud. This is Downtown Country.
Hey, with an introduction like that, who needs jingles? Managing Director of Downtown Radio, Cool FM, and Downtown Country. You're more than welcome. This is country music. This is Lady Antebellum. Guess what the song's called? It's Downtown.
All the parties on the streets are talking stuff.
Trevor continued to be the lead broadcaster on the station until his sad passing on November the 21st. Countless tributes poured in from the music world and the listeners, expressing their shock and sadness at the loss of their dear friend.
Well, the first time that I met Trevor was a while way back in, I'd say around 75, and it just so happened that I had recorded The Blanket on the Ground, and I remember at the time Trevor had his show on, and I got a lot of plays on Downtown. Everybody used to think that I had a share in Downtown. But Trevor played me all the time. Like, he was always up on the ball, you know, when there was any of the big shows on, and like everybody knew him, and he was a great fella, and I have to say I did a right good few shows with him over the years too, you know, in the early days especially. I couldn't say a bad word about him, honest to God. He was, and always a bit of crack. We had a lot of good times, I can assure you that. You know, and it'd make you feel relaxed when you would go to the studio and not to do the... Well, again, saying that, Trevor knew me well, and he would be, more or less, I would be a bit of a stammer, stutter a bit. It's really not that long ago since I seen him. I think the last time I seen him was in Jean Stewart's, Susan McCann was doing her launch for a new CD. No, I was very down to earth, very easy when you're on the radio to talk to. He's just a nice, kind person.
Just dropping by to express my deepest sympathies to Big T's family, and of course to Vi and to the whole Downtown community, and to all Big T's listeners. It's such a sad loss to the radio industry, and of course to country music fans all over Northern Ireland and further afield that would have tuned in every week. My first memory of Big T was meeting him 15 years ago for my first ever interview in Northern Ireland, and he was a good friend and someone that introduced me on stage every year in Belfast, whether it be the Waterfront or the Opera House or the SSE Arena. And this year was the first year that we didn't actually get to see Big T on stage. So my thoughts are with all his family, his friends, and of course all his listeners as well. As I say, a massive loss to country music and to radio in general.
It's just so sad that they lost such a superstar. Trevor, Big T is better known as. Now, I've known Trevor for many, many years, and my first recording was a song called Take Me Home to Mama, and I mean, it wasn't too great the first time around, but Big Trevor played it anyway, and he played it a lot, and it was a part of his airplays. Our crowds shut up from that time, and sort of put us on the road to better things after a while. The people just loved him as they did, and many times when I was be invited down to downtown on a Sunday night for a chat, he and Adrian made me so welcome. And for days after that, you know, when I met people in the street, they were saying, I hear you on the Big T on Sunday night, you know. So what the man was, he was a giant. People grew up listening to Trevor, his country shows, and there's many singers in Ireland owe their careers to him. Thanks for the memories, Trevor. And you will be missed by very many people forever. And the words of a Jim Reeves song, I would like to say, I know that I won't forget you. Rest in peace, big man. You were loved by all.
I was shocked and saddened to hear the news of Big T's passing. An amazing broadcaster and a massive loss to Irish country music. He was a great supporter of my music and songwriting, and a great friend as well. We would always keep in touch. My favourite memories of him would be when I used to visit him in the studio for interviews. I always used to look forward to it because it always felt like a natural chat, really. And you didn't really care or know sometimes if the red light was on. We would chat about songwriting, share stories about trips to Nashville. And one thing I always noted was he was such a pro. He always did his research. If I was, previewing an album, he would always know the details of each track and co-writers, producers. He was genuinely interested. And I think this, along with his obvious charisma and his warmth, are some of the reasons why he'll always be a legend of the airwaves. He was also present for so many milestones of my career. He introduced me on stage for my first headline Farmers Bash show at the SSC Arena in Belfast, and also surprised me one night on stage at the Ulster Hall, presenting me with a sales disc for my greatest hits album. And more recently, he was holidaying in Spain with his lovely partner V last summer and dropped into our Beating the Heat trip. And that's a night I'll always cherish now, because we had a great catch up, and after the gig he texted and he said, great show, you care so much and it shows. And I think that just sums up the measure of the man.
I'm honestly devastated to hear about the sad loss of Big T today. He was an absolute gentleman. He was always just so genuinely interested in what you were up to all the time, whether it was recording music, were you on tour, was there anything coming up, or just how you were in general. He was always the first to go out of his way and say hello to you at different shows. And he was one of the first radio presenters to actually play my music and give me interviews from the day I started. And he was a huge supporter of mine, and I'll always be extremely grateful to him. It's just such a sad day for country music and for radio in Northern Ireland. Not only are his colleagues and friends at Downtown and Downtown Country devastated, but the audience and listeners will definitely sorely miss him after 7 every single night on the radio. It's a really, really sad day for Northern Ireland and for country music and for radio. But my heart mainly goes out to his family, his immediate family and friends. I'm just devastated for them and sending them all the love in the world.
He was always so friendly, always a time for you. It didn't matter who you are, just a real gentleman, and he will be sorely missed. There's no two ways about it.
I listened to Big T every night on Downtown Country, and my mum enjoyed him on Downtown Radio as well when he was on. But I remember one time being in Downtown Radio with him, and he was a big gentleman. He was always made you very welcome.
He just loved radio, the same as a lot of us did. A lot of the artists I've been on it today, and a lot of the singers have been saying that he helped them along, and he gave them their first interviews. And
I've been listening to Trevor since '76 when he came on, and he was always great crack and lovely man to speak to, and he wouldn't have passed you. Great man.
Listening to him from, my goodness, Downtown started '76. I was born '73. Downtown was never off in our house. I grew up listening to Big T. My father was a huge country music fan, and after he passed in 1988, I suddenly started missing this country music, and started then to listen to Big T myself more intently. And he was just a wonderful, wonderful gentleman, a real gentleman, and he is just loved, and he will be missed so much.
You put Trevor on, and it wasn't like a voice coming out of a radio. He was so warm, he was so down to earth, he talked to you that you would have thought he was in the room with you. He was a friend. It just wasn't an ordinary DJ. He was a friend. And I'll miss him terribly.
He knew his country music inside out. Any gigs, I would run quite a few concerts for charity. I'm blind and visually impaired, and Trevor would have done anything that helped me, and any of the gigs I was running, he was only too happy to read them out. And he made, as far as I'm concerned, he made country music thrive.
He was always so willing to help you and give you knowledge. You know, he wasn't one of these guys who sort of looked down his nose at you. He is and was the voice of country music in Northern Ireland.
I first met Trevor at an awards night just shortly after I'd won Glór Tíre, and he was the kindest man with the loveliest words of advice that I will certainly never forget. And ever since, if I was to meet him at an event or a gig, he would always take time out to speak to me, and we would have lengthy conversations about all things country music and all things radio. And I just admired the passion that he had for whenever he was speaking about the experiences he encountered throughout his years and his lifetime. And he was a real inspiration, and he certainly inspired me. And he will certainly solely be missed within the world of not only radio, but also the world of country music.
We'll leave the closing words to Trevor himself, but Hendy and Don Anderson have their abiding memories.
I remember T as the country DJ because I remember the big concerts that Mervyn Conn used to run when he brought all the American country artists over to Belfast in the King's Hall. And T had a chance to go and interview all these. But these were the guys and girls in country music, and he was able to interview them. So much so that they got to know him very well because he did it for quite a few years. Then when they stopped bringing him over here, they did the concerts in Wembley, and he used to go over there and do the interviews with the country artists. I mean, that's how I will remember T, talking about these amazing people and, you know, just casually saying, well, Johnny Cash was saying the other days, etc. And I'm going, oh, wow, you know.
I think he was possibly one of the nicest people I ever met. I don't think I ever heard him say a nasty thing about anybody. And people knew that about him, and they felt he was somebody that they could actually open up to, talk to, and enjoy listening to. And that made one heck of a difference. It made a difference everywhere he went, whether it be here in Belfast, across in London, and indeed Nashville. He was liked. It was as simple as that.
In 1983, Trevor became a recording artist and had a local hit with this. It seems the appropriate way to end this tribute. My thanks to Peter Flanagan for production assistance and to Kenny Tosh and Kelly Vision for archive recordings.
Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant, for they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons, they are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have the right to be here, and whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should.
In Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful and strive to be happy.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have the right to be here. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have the right to be here. You are a child.
And whenever I even heard of the forthcoming, broadcasting station locally, it just seemed so natural that I should want to be on it, and too much to hope for, that it will be too much things falling into place too easily, and that I think basically that I felt that it will be all too good to be true if I made it.